If you want a short version without all the nuance you're about to hear, if you enjoy a type of inspirational content that you feel might be invalidating to your trans experience, you're still allowed to be transgender. Have a nice day. Today's video is a controversial topic. It's also a fairly adult topic, so if you're a younger viewer, maybe sit this one out, okay? A video about AGP will involve topics such as sexuality, kink, and that kind of thing, right? However, I will explain it in a light manner, but just keep that in mind, okay? Let's start simple. What is AGP, and is it actually real? So long story short, a very long time ago, this date on the screen, there was a report that claimed that transgender experience was apparently just sexual desires. The concept of imagining yourself as a woman in a relationship with a man, the thrill of that. The theory claimed this is the basis of which transition in general exists. As you can imagine, the theory itself has a lot of problems. It's worth understanding that this study was pretty much immediately considered pseudoscientific, or not science, basically. It wasn't done very well as far as a research experiment. Like, yeah, they surveyed trans women, I guess, but it's worth understanding that they also didn't ask cis women as a control group. So, it didn't really work to the intended effect. This is a case of a scientific study deciding its conclusion before doing the study, right? Some obvious problems. The model assumes that all trans women want to date men. There's lesbian trans people, there's asexual trans people. I think asexual trans people in general is the biggest like debunker, so to speak, because, you know, there's plenty of trans people that might not even want to do sex-related things, right? So as a result, the model doesn't really work. I wouldn't take claims from this particular researcher particularly seriously. This same guy claims that men are more likely to be gay if they have older brothers. And no, this doesn't apply to lesbians for some reason. Our best interest is not considered in this study. I mean, we're referred to as homosexual transsexuals in this particular study. There's a lot wrong with that. This study's literally never been peer-reviewed. It's never been taken seriously in gender studies. Not a single person in gender studies has supported it. The only people that have supported this claim is, you know, hate groups. That's not to say that dressing feminine for the sake of thrill doesn't exist. It does, and it manifests in a very complicated way. So, in a nutshell, if you happen to enjoy inspirational content with labels such as feminization, forced feminization, or sissification, you can still be a regular trans person, right? I think that's probably my most controversial take of the video. I feel like a lot of these kinks are born from a societal shame of wanting to present feminine or enact feminine gender roles, right? So if our world had no transphobia, I don't think any of these labels or kinks or categories would really exist. I don't think anyone would care anymore. If we had no transphobia, I don't think we would have any of this stuff, to be blunt. It's more like being attracted to roleplay scenarios that play on transphobia as a concept. Think of it like how people that are gay, for example, might enjoy inspirational content that has homophobia as its primary theme or gimmick. That person's still gay, but the experience or shame that has been built up through their life as a gay person has been manifested into a play scenario in a role play sense. They're still gay, but they're enjoying this tropiness of it for the sake of their own enjoyment in a consensual environment in the comfort of their own home, not bothering anybody. That's fine. I think the same applies here. If you enjoy a super tropey inspirational content scenario where like a guy is forced to wear girls' clothes, oh no, and then suddenly they have to enact gendered roles. Oh, how shameful, how pathetic. It's kind of whatever, right? Because when you finish enjoying that, you know, inspirational content, life just continues. You don't have to live a kink for the rest of your days. It's not as black and white as that. There are people that just go to regular office jobs, be really chill, regular, and then they go home And then they do the kind of stuff that I could never say on camera on this YouTube channel. Understand that these tropes hyper-exaggerate femininity beyond what you would do in your average everyday. If you happen to be a transgender person that enjoys this type of content, chances are the kind of outfits or the scenarios are vastly different than when you just wear a cute skirt and go grocery shopping. It's very different, right? I think that separation is like a healthy way to go about it, but you do you. If there's someone that enjoys leather, for example, they're not gonna go to the grocery store wearing the kind of leather outfit they're gonna wear with a partner behind closed doors. There's separation. Understand that that separation with these tropes doesn't disqualify you from being able to be a girl in your average everyday. Understand that the kink isn't really you being a woman. It's the societal tropes that you've been brought up with and the shame associated with that. That's the kink, right? It's not really the being a woman part. Being a woman is a pretty regular thing, right? And when you start wearing girls' clothes in your average every day, it's gonna become pretty mundane. And yeah, once like living as a girl becomes more and more normal for you, yeah, I feel like there's a tendency where interest in this kind of stuff kind of evaporates, or at least lessens, because it's not really like a frill really if you're always just a girl and everyone's okay with that. The shame's been conquered, if that makes sense. Some of these tropes are kind of freeing actually, because if you have a force femme trope, for example, right, where you have to be feminine or whatever, like a third party is forcing this upon you, that removes some shame for you in your average everyday, because you're like, no, I'm not accepting these feelings, I'm being forced. Not really, you're the one that clicked the things. I hate to burst the bubble, but no one's actually ever been force femmed, like actually, in their entire life. That's not real. The idea of it is fantasy. It separates some shame and lets you feel comfortable and explore stuff that you might not feel like you're able to otherwise. That's why there's a bit of a messy conflation or connection between transition in general and inspirational content. Because sometimes you might be exposed to the inspirational content first, then figure out your trans, which that can be a doozy on your mental health, huh? There are cis guys that enjoy this type of content. Heck, it is the majority, right? They're also manifesting their shame as far as not being manly enough, so to speak. There's a different nuance to it, but also understand that almost all the inspirational content around this topic that exists is marketed primarily to cis men because they're the more likely demographic to pay a lot of money for it, if that makes sense. So sometimes a lot of the tropes in these might actually be rather invalidating. It might not even feel good. You might not even like watching a lot of this stuff, right? But there's certain aspects of it you might enjoy, and that's fine. You can be nuanced about it. You don't have to like absolutely everything about something. Just make sure you're doing what you actually want to do, okay? Yes, there are people that are cis men that cross-dress for a frill, whether that's sexual or non-sexual. That does exist. However, that's separate because when those people finish dressing up, they take it off. Trans people, however, do super thrilling stuff such as waiting in the doctor's office for their blood test, being on the phone line waiting for information of whether they can start HRT. Ooh, doesn't that just get you thrilled? Wow, how feminized this must be. Wow. Can you imagine that was an inspirational content video where all it is someone sitting in a waiting room waiting for their HRT, and then they're just sitting there like, dang, I'm so feminized right now. Whew. I'll also address the existence of hypnotization videos, you know, like become a girl, ooh. So I have a video series that's kind of a satire of those, but essentially, a video can't turn you into a girl. To make it really brief. In addition, videos, even with super swirly text and lots of GIFs of really not safe for work imagery, cannot make you a super hyper femme archetype or anything. That's not really a thing. That's a role play. That's the fantasy aspect of being turned into a girl, if that makes sense. It's fantasy. You'll see comments under a lot of these videos being like, ah yes, I suddenly have the craving for lipstick, skirts and handbags. That's what women like, yeah. You can spot these really easily. Just understand that this is them partaking in the roleplay. The unfortunate part is when these kind of comments go under my videos where they're not hypnotizing, they're just giving you affirmation and advice. But sometimes I do get comments from people that are treating these kind of videos as their roleplay thing, and I don't really understand that. Like under the click this to become a girl videos, I'll sometimes have these massive comments that say like, yes, I'm thinking lipstick, I'm thinking pink, I'm thinking Sarah will be the new name, that kind of thing, right? Just understand that the thing I don't think is good is leaking that over to non-kink spaces. Enjoy a roleplay, yes, but the problem comes where other people are non-consensually involved in it. Like yes, if you went into a big pink frilly maid outfit and went into the grocery store for the sake of a frill, that would be a problem. Don't do that. That would make other people uncomfortable in a way that's actually probably reasonable to be uncomfortable, right? However, when you're at home or with consenting partners, yeah, go for it, wear it. Why not? Have fun, do what you want. You know what else is charged? A lot of people's opinions of AGP. It can be said that the AGP paper has been used by hate groups for really negative effects that has, unfortunately, really negatively affected the trans community. In addition, a lot of people in the queer community will be quick to either make fun of or belittle people that enjoy stuff that might seem related to it. So, as a result, people that experience being like trans and enjoy stuff on the side, you know, inspirational content and all, they might feel a bit isolated, and that might result in feeling a little shamed and, you know, like they don't have community. You'll find queer communities will distance themselves and belittle others for the sake of seeming more normal or agreeable. This is a common thing, not just for this topic, just queer experience in general, where the closer we get to an understanding of queer acceptance, that kind of thing, I think we try to throw people under the bus specifically to seem more agreeable to our oppressors. As you can imagine, appealing to people that aren't being very kind doesn't really work. Look, trans girls enjoying that kind of stuff? Fine. Heck, I've seen trans guys like this kind of stuff, right? It doesn't matter. Just do what you want, but also be yourself. And don't lock yourself away from the world or neglect your IRL day-to-day life just for one thing. You can still live a happy, healthy lifestyle. It's fine. At the end of the day, this doesn't really matter. It's such a non-issue that's been blown out of proportion. But yeah. My tip is just be kind to yourself. Try not to shame yourself too much. Enjoy what you like, and also be respectful of others when you're going out there and being you. You know what I mean? You'll be fine. Hope this video is helpful. Sorry that this one was a little trickier of a topic than usual. I figured this one needed a bit more nuance and slow pace. Please leave a friendly comment. I'm terrified of making this particular video, and there's a reason not many people will make a video about this topic, okay? It's a little scary. It's a little vulnerable. But it's important. As always, stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll see you next week.